folks. Thanks for joining us today. This is another edition of Alchemy's in the Lab, and this is our Emerge series where we feature vendors that are either emerging or up and coming, or vendors we recently started working with. And I'm happy and excited to be featuring a very interesting vendor called Amelia today. We're going to be talking about conversational AI in transforming your customer service and enterprise experience. And you're in for a treat. This is one of the more interesting technologies lately that I've come across, and so I'm excited to be jumping in on this topic today. So thank you for joining us. All right, now we got a lot of great people on the phone today. My name's Pete Downing. I'm the host and run our various In the Lab series. I'll explain that later. But on the phone with me and on today's webinar, we have Brian Anderson and Nathan Walker. Brian, give yourself a quick intro and what you do for Amelia and why AI.
Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are across the country. My name is Brian Anderson. I lead our healthcare, insurance, financial services, and several other industry vertical from a commercial perspective. With me, I have Nate Walker. Nate, if you can introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi, everybody. Nathan Walker. Feel free to call me Nate, like Brian does. I'm the Director of Solution Architecture for North America here at Amelia. I work very closely with Brian, helping from everything from scoping and designing solutions for Amelia to the deployment, cross-discipline from everything from telephony infrastructure to machine learning and data science with the conversational AI platform. Have to have a lot of expertise in a lot of spaces. So been a fun run here so far. Appreciate the opportunity to speak with you all today.
Awesome. Well, hey guys, thanks for taking time out of your busy days to join us. And we are going to kick off to our In the Lab Emerge with Amelia. So thanks for joining us, guys, and I'm excited.
All right. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes, sir. We can see it.
Fantastic. For those that weren't here when we originally introduced ourselves, I'll do that again. Brian Anderson. I lead our vertical team here at Amelia, which really falls into several different industries: healthcare, financial services, insurance, just to name a few. By way of background, I've been in healthcare now for almost 20 years across various areas like the provider, health plan, pharmacy, lab, life sciences. And I'm really excited about my opportunity here at Amelia to evangelize what we believe is something very, very cool for all industries to really heighten and elevate the overall experience for your customers, which also could be consumers or patients or members, depending on your industry and where you sit, but also your employees. And that's for them to do self-service, but also for your agents to improve their overall experience. And you can give them an overall better path from a center of excellence perspective within your call centers. What we're planning to do today is just walk through a couple slides just to familiarize you with Amelia and the industry. And then we're going to switch quickly over to a demonstration where we'll walk through various use cases across different channels. We'll show you some of the other unique features within Amelia that may be important to your organization. Again, as you have questions as we're going through this, feel free to throw them in the chat and we will definitely get to them. And we'll try to save some time at the end as well to answer any other questions. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and jump into it. So from an organizational perspective, everybody wants to talk about AI. And AI as an industry is very broad, and we're here to talk about, in particular, conversational AI and business process automation. And you may have heard a lot of buzzwords like generative AI, ChatGPT, all those things that are out there today that are kind of buzzwords and getting everybody excited about what's possible within your organization and how you can transform and use those technologies to really do some unique things. But overall, most organizations today, when they're doing stuff like this, are really trying to solve things around workforce shortages and management, They're trying to digitize and transform their organization for both better employee and customer experience. This falls into the call centers and various other areas of your organization. Creating an Omni Channel self-service experience for everybody. So how do I engage and make it easy for users to engage where they're comfortable communicating to solve problems? How do you create a single voice and create a universal agent? Often today, we've all gone through this where we call as a consumer or customer of telephony, your cell phone provider, and you've got to go through various call centers just to solve a couple mundane tasks. That's very, very challenging as users. We can spend a lot of time going through that process, and that's never fun for any of us. So how do you create a single experience where you can engage with one digital employee that can solve all your problems without having to be transferred across multiple call centers? And then ultimately, it's all about increasing revenue and reducing cost. As you know, throwing bodies at business problems is never, ever a scalable solution. So how do you do that with automation where it makes sense? And then obviously IVRs, we've all worked with them in various capacities. Their containment rate is less than 5%. They're never really a good experience. They just honestly don't solve problems. They're more of a means to deflection to somewhere else across your organization. So how do you meet your customers or employees up front in that IVR to solve problems without having to be bounced around in different call centers? So lots of opportunities. This is not all inclusive. This just gives you some examples of some of the reasons why organizations like yours may partner with Amelia. From an organization perspective, we've been around for almost 25 years. We are the largest conversational AI company that is not publicly traded today. Lots of different clients across all industries. A lot of the learnings and automations that we've built for our clients are transferable across other industries. So lots of learnings and opportunity for organizations like yours to now adopt conversational AI. And you're not partnering with an organization that is basically bringing a platform with very little intelligence to solve business problems. We've been doing this for a long, long time. And most likely we have pretty much a majority of the use cases you're looking for to solve customer and employee type of self-service use cases. We have quite a bit of clients, as I mentioned. We have almost 1,000 staff. We are headquartered in New York. As you can see, our office is right here. And a lot of our staff is located there, but we do have locations scattered throughout the globe. From a third-party analyst perspective, there's lots of different analysts out there. All of them have reports. If anyone's interested on this call, feel free to reach out to Alchemy or the Amelia team, and we'll send you these reports. But the third-party analysts all recognize Amelia as a market leader. As you can see here, some of the more dominant ones, Gartner, Forrester, Ovium, Everest, all recognize consistently Amelia as a top-tier conversational AI and business process automation platform. And not all of these solutions on the board here are all created equal. And we hope our demo today highlights why Amelia is different and how she can really drive exceptional outcomes for your organization. I'm going to spend just a couple minutes going through some of the key differentiators. This is not all inclusive, but this gives you an example of why we built Amelia to handle complex conversations to solve business problems. So we'll start across the left and work our way around the logo here. So on the far left, you see low code process designer and digital employee builder. These are self-service tools that we have built within Amelia's platform for organizations like yours to go in and actually build your own Amelia, build your own use cases. We're going to show you how that's done here today. We use a lot of different technology in order to make it easy for you, including large language models like ChatGPT, in order to build digital employees for you to go really fast and rapid to deploy these to drive business outcomes. We are a cloud-based offering. We do provide a single tenant or multi-tenant option. So depending on where you sit and what your policies and procedures are, you may have different options there. As I mentioned earlier in the previous slide, we do have a lot of pre-trained skills. So you're not starting from scratch. We probably have built this before, and we can use a lot of the templates that we've built for various industries and clients where it would make sense for your organization so we can scale very quickly and make sure that we're driving a business case within 2 to 3 months within each phase of the deployment. Amelia was purposely built from the ground up to handle rigid conversations with end users. So this is members, patients, customers, consumers, employees. You can do things like come in with multiple intents. She's going to understand them. You could say, I need your help with these 3 things, but first focus here. Amelia is going to understand how to do that in that order and start tackling those things for you. She can do that via chat, voice, SMS, all the different channels in order to support your end users. You can also change your mind on Amelia. So if, let's say you're in a conversation with her and you decide you're going to pay a bill, but you want to do it with a credit card, but decide, hey, I'm going to do it with my debit instead. Amelia is smart enough to understand that and go back in the business process and be able to support the business outcome. She is emotionally aware. So she's measuring sentiment across the entire dialogue flow from the beginning to the end, and she's continuously learning. So through each conversation she's having with an end user, she's looking to improve her existing business processes, but also create new ones based on the learning she's had. She has agent escalation experience. So when she's measuring sentiment and it makes sense for her to escalate, she will do that accordingly. But you can also, as a user, ask to talk to a human. So there's different ways to solve for that. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the reason why organizations partner with Amelia is to drive containment. So she's built to do that and support that business outcome. She does speak over 100 languages and she can translate between them. And then, as I mentioned, she's a versatile platform. We have various industries that use her for and trust us as their brand for communicating with their employees and their customers. But we're also an enterprise platform. So we're not just supporting employees, we're also supporting business. You can pretty much build an automation roadmap with us, and we continue to build these automations and use cases based on where your business is going and based on the business needs you have. Amelia is Omni Channel and multimodal. So that means basically you can have different means of communication. So inbound voice, outbound voice. She can navigate an IVR and voicemail. She can also handle inbound calls. Additionally, she can handle website chat or proprietary apps for chat, those type of things. Then we have various gateways with other employee type of communication platforms, as well as external for consumers to engage with. They're comfortable engaging in order to solve a problem. And then lastly, we are multimodal, meaning that you can switch between channels as well. So for example, if I'm authenticating a patient and they've called into my patient access center, before I can do any work and start using PHI, I need to authenticate them. So we would follow the policies of the health system or the health plan if it's a member. And before Amelia goes to work like her counterparts would from an agent perspective, she's going to authenticate them. And then she can do that via an SMS text, for example, for 2-factor authentication or other means where you're using 2 channels at once in order to solve a business problem and make sure that you're creating a red carpet, white glove experience for your end users. And then lastly, before we get into the demo, I just, in order for Amelia to be a digital employee and for her to actually take on a role within your organization, she, just like humans, when you hire them, you have to give them access to your backend systems. It's the same thing with Amelia. In order for her to actually move data around based on natural conversations with end users, she needs to be integrated through APIs, Fire or HL7. We do use RPA as well, but as you can see here, there's lots of different solutions. Some of these may be relevant to you, others may not. This is not all inclusive either, but just shows you that it's important for Amelia to sit in your contact center, be able to work across multiple channels, be able to work with your HR, your help desk, other solutions that you use there, your business applications, your databases, et cetera. Without further ado, I'm going to transition to Nate, and he's actually going to move into the persona that we're going to outline for you today in the demo and actually jump into Amelia and show you some of the capabilities. Thanks, Nate.
Thanks for teeing that up, Brian.
Yep.
And you've got one more slide, right?
I do.
There we go. All right. Well, today we're going to be walking through several different use cases from the perspective of our user, John Smith. John is a new dad. And if you have ever had a newborn at home, you might know how challenging that can be. Might be a little frazzled, trying to work through different things. Needs to have some flexibility, working from home periodically, needs to do some traveling, maybe to take some time off, in order to support doctor's appointments, things like that. So by having a solution like Amelia from the perspective of both an enterprise solution for customer-facing use cases and from an internal use case perspective for employees, we can support all that enterprise-wide. So John here, being both a patient and an employee of a health system, kind of our targeted focus here today. A couple of use cases. First is from a patient experience side. John has a appointment that is scheduled, but he's last minute has to travel for work, so he needs to call in and cancel that appointment. Normally you would be able to do that through like a patient portal, My Chart, if you're familiar with Epic. But he can't get logged in. Forgot his password. Again, that brain fog, having a newborn at home. So he's got to call in. This would normally be maybe calls to a couple of different departments, maybe a help desk for the password, scheduling team to manage the appointment. But with Amelia, he can call in and manage all of that in one call. From there, we'll transition over to an employee-facing use case. John having a laptop that was issued to him, newborn, again, brain fog. He dropped it and the screen cracked. So he's got a ticket in for that. He's trying to get a status update, and again, locked out of his account on his backup desktop. So we'll show a password reset from an employee perspective as well. And then finally, from an HR perspective, having Amelia support a time off request. His newborn has a pediatric appointment that he needs to take some time off for. So jumping into Microsoft Teams is a simple way for him to make that request through the HR team. So we'll show these three different use cases across all of these different channels and perspectives. So thank you, Brian. I'll go ahead and take over the screen share from here. And you'll have to stop sharing, please. Oh. Great, thank you. All right, so welcome to Amelia. This is our administrative console. What I will be doing is looking at the task view here. Think of this as an administrator console where you can view conversations as they come in. So whenever I dial in here in just a moment, you'll see a new conversation populate. I'll click on that. We'll take a look at the back end so we can see live the transcript of the conversation and a little bit about what's happening as the conversation goes forward. So I will also be sharing my phone screen here so we can see that this is a live demonstration. This is not pre-recorded. I'm not just hitting a play button. I'm actually calling in. So one moment while I dial in.
Please enter the 4-digit extension you want to connect there. Thanks for calling One Health. My name is Amelia, your digital assistant. I can assist with managing appointments and more. How can I help you today?
I'd like to cancel my appointment, but first I need to reset my patient portal password.
I can help you with resetting your patient portal password. Am I speaking with John Smith?
Yeah, that's me.
Sorry, was that a yes or a no? Am I speaking with John Smith?
Yes, that's me.
Before we proceed, I will need to verify you. I have sent you a 6-digit verification code via SMS. Can you tell me what it is?
553493.
Your verification was successful. Thank you, John. We will provide you with a new password that you will use to log in with. Once you log in, we highly recommend that you reset your password to something only you know. Are you ready for your new password?
Yes, I am.
Your patient portal password has been reset, and we will send your new password to the email we have on file. I understand that you also wanted to cancel an appointment. Let me fetch your appointment details. I see 2 upcoming appointments, one on the 29th of June, Thursday, and the other one on the 1st of July, Saturday. Which one of these appointments do you wish to cancel?
Before that, how do I schedule a COVID test?
We offer COVID tests at our 14 convenient locations by appointment only. To schedule an appointment for a PCR or rapid test, you will need to speak with a scheduling specialist. Would you like for me to transfer you?
Yes, please.
All right, I will transfer you to schedule that after this call. Would you like to resume canceling your appointment?
Yeah, sure.
Which one of these appointments do you wish to cancel?
The one tomorrow.
Got it. The appointment on the 29th of June 2023 with Dr. Brendan Smith. Would you prefer to reschedule your appointment instead?
Yeah, sure.
Great. The soonest available appointment is on the 3rd of July 2023 at 2 p.m. Would you like to come in then?
Is there anything at 4 p.m.?
No, I don't have anything at 4 p.m. on the 3rd of July 2023. However, on the 4th of July 2023, I have an opening at 4 p.m. Would you like to reschedule for this day and time?
Yeah, sure. That works.
Okay, your checkup appointment with Dr. Brendan Smith has been rescheduled for the 4th of July 2023 at 4 p.m. Would you like for me to send you an SMS confirmation to the phone number we have on file with your new appointment details?
Yes, please.
I have sent you the SMS. You should be receiving it shortly. Is there anything else I can help you with before I transfer you to schedule an appointment for a PCR or rapid test?
No, that's all.
Great. Let me transfer you to one of our agents. Please give me a moment while I contact someone else to assist you.
And at that point, Amelia will go ahead and close out here. She would transfer to the appropriate department to help with that use case. So a couple of things going on there. Let me walk you through what you just saw. The first thing I want to call out is obviously the 4th of July being a holiday, there probably wouldn't have necessarily been appointments on that date. So Amelia, looking at appointments, we do have some canned integrations on the back end for demo purposes here. Just she was looking at the next available day. We don't have holidays baked in, unfortunately. But in any case, couple of things starting from the top here. First, Amelia greeted and asked, "How can I help you today?" We're already differentiating ourselves from traditional IVRs. You would expect you call into an automated solution, something like press 1 for this, 2 for that. We use natural language understanding to recognize your user's intent. And when I asked for help here, I gave her a lot of information. I gave her 2 different tasks, and Amelia was able to not only differentiate between the 2 of them and execute them sequentially, but she also understood what order I asked for them in. But first, I need to reset my patient portal password. A lot of solutions would break right here. They wouldn't be able to handle the multiple requests. They would either understand one or the other, maybe have to ask which one do you mean, or maybe even just transfer to a human because it broke. But with Amelia, you're able to handle not only multiple intents, but conditional request, a lot of different NLU capabilities there. Well, from there, we went into the actual reset of the patient portal password. Notice that Amelia asked, am I speaking with John Smith? This is based off of the call records. We're able to look into patient information and greet by name. This type of proactive approach is extremely important to me. A lot of solutions are, you kind of have to start from the top, ask for maybe a date of birth and a phone number and go look them up. But if you're able to be proactive and pull that information and just ask, am I speaking with John Smith? Then you can reduce the amount of friction on the call and make it a smoother, more efficient experience for the end user. And I'll say this a couple of times today, I'm sure, but expedient customer service is good customer service. So anything you can do to reduce that friction is very important. Amelia didn't quite hear me here. I said that's me, but she was looking for, we were looking for kind of a yes, no here. Didn't understand that. This was unscripted. I didn't mean for this to happen, but Amelia handled this gracefully. We do have error handling baked into the platform. This was not something that I trained her to do. She just knows that she needs a yes or no for this. And if she doesn't get that, then she rephrases the question. Sorry, was that a yes or no? So once we did confirm, we did an authentication. This is just one method of authentication, sending a 6-digit code over SMS. Pretty straightforward for us to implement. I'll show you another example of authentication here in a moment on the next example. But this, using our SMS gateways, we're able to have a conversation with the end user, sending them that over SMS. Now, what's great is that SMS channel is then available to this patient. So if I need to respond later on by text message, I can ask, maybe I need to reschedule my appointment again. I can do this same conversation that you just saw over voice. I could do that through SMS as well. So opening it up to multiple channels is extremely important. So from there, Amelia reset the password, sent that over via email. I did receive the email, but I'm not going to pull my work email up right now. You should understand. From there, this is where Amelia switched over. She went to cancel the appointment. Now, first she needs to look up which appointment. I've got multiple ones scheduled. It's pretty straightforward to ask by date which one it is that you'd like to cancel. But I threw her a curveball here. I didn't answer that question directly. I asked a new question entirely. Hey, how do I schedule a COVID test? Amelia understands when you are asking for new information. She's able to stop what she's doing, answer that question, and then resume the original context without missing a beat. And you can layer that in as many times as you want. You can ask one question, ask a follow-up question, and Amelia will always bring that home and never lose her place and always make sure that you get everything done. For this specific request, Amelia is not scheduling these appointments for the patient, so she does need to transfer that over. This is an example of a use case that you may want to implement where we do pure IVR replacement. If you're not looking for full end-to-end automation, a good starting place could just be implementing natural language understanding to replace your complex IVR tree. Amelia understanding the request and transferring to the appropriate department is very straightforward. But once we completed that, we resumed canceling the appointment. We identified the appointment by date. You don't have to be very prescriptive here. You can just say things like the one tomorrow, and Amelia will understand what you meant. This is natural language understanding at work. We call this an entity. And you probably saw, if you were following along with the middle section here, the different types of entities being extracted, appointment date and time being one that we were looking for. So by saying the one tomorrow, she understood that was the date of the 29th. So once we found the correct appointment, now Amelia is going to be configured to make sure to provide business value. And for a health system, canceling an appointment does not provide business value. You want to keep that appointment on the books to prevent patient leakage. So by offering to reschedule the appointment instead, Amelia is keeping that appointment on the books and driving revenue instead of losing revenue for you and your organization. We did a negotiation back and forth here about the date and time. This is where I called out the 4th of July. Probably wasn't a great example, but getting that appointment on the books, offering me a 2 p.m. I've got a kid and I work 2 p.m. does not work for me. 4 p.m. is a little bit better. So getting that back and forth. And this conversational skill is not dependent on any APIs or anything of that nature. We just pull the information about what appointments are available, and Amelia has the conversation and helps navigate which appointment that the user wants. From there was one final SMS confirmation, and then Amelia, if you recall that COVID test from earlier, Amelia wrapped up the conversation and has now transferred me over. So there was a lot going on the background to drive all of this. You saw some of the brain at work here. One thing that I do want to call out that you weren't able to see during the conversation is Amelia's sentiment analysis at work. Amelia is measuring sentiment on the conversation throughout the entire dialogue. Every turn of conversation, Amelia is scoring that on a scale of 1 to -1. We aggregate a score at the end, providing you with your CSAT reporting that you can use to measure net promoter scores, et cetera. But what's really interesting is that Amelia can also follow different business processes and update her dialogue depending on the sentiment score at a time. So if it drops too low, we can start saying things like, hey, I'm sorry to hear you're frustrated, but don't worry, I can help. And if it ever drops too low, we can follow an escalation process. Someone's clearly frustrated, something's gone completely off the rails. No sense in keeping them on the line. Let's just go ahead and follow that escalation process. You would define what that is. Maybe that's a ticket for a callback or a transfer over to a supervisor queue, something like that. But the point is that depending on things like word choice, tone of voice, et cetera, Amelia understands and can follow different business processes based off of user sentiment. All right, so we will jump into the next demo from here.
Hey, Nate, can I interject a couple questions really quick?
Absolutely.
We covered a lot here, and this is pretty sweet. So first question I had is, and it probably I'm wondering is, Amelia is obviously the stock voice. Can you have alternative voices? Like, if you're in the UK, can you have a more British sounding voice, or if you're, that way it seems more native?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a library of different voices that you can choose from. This is our standard Amelia persona that we use for demo purposes. However, organizations have the opportunity to pick their own persona. So if you want to name her something else, not Amelia, you want to pick your own voice, great. Doesn't have to be her. We have male voices. You probably saw the avatar as well, and I'll actually pop that back on the screen here. The Amelia avatar, the Amelia persona, all of this can be configured. Some organizations don't choose to use the avatar, especially over voice. It's not really relevant, but you can customize hair color, skin tone, voice, gender. Doesn't even have to be human. I think I have a Japanese client that has a dog as their avatar, right? So it gives you a sense of the flexibility there. And really, this is a branding opportunity for organizations. So you've got your brand. Maybe you already have a brand ambassador. I have for example, a well-known national insurance organization that has commercials, national ads that run. They already have an actor who is the face of their brand. So by modeling that actor, we stick them in a booth, record their voice, create a model of their voice. We're able to have it sound like it is that actor on the phone communicating with the end user. So give you a sense of familiarity and a sense of continuity across the brand. That's sonic branding is extremely important. Additionally, on that note, some of the tones that you heard there as well. There was that typing sound between the different tasks that when Amelia was going through the conversation. That is configurable as well. We have a library of different sounds you can use for that, or you can bring your own sound. That's kind of a waiting processing sound. So there's no dead air. If maybe an API call is running a little long, something along those lines, you want to make sure that something is there to give the user confidence that the conversation is still going. But all of those things come together to drive home the point that sonic branding is extremely important to us. We want to make sure that you can tailor the experience to you and your brand and your target demographics as well.
Cool. And then another kind of question just came up, just based on the use case here. So, let's say hypothetically, in your scenario, she said, what's the last 3 digits of your SOCH or your date of birth, and things like that. Like, assuming underneath the covers, you guys are tied into, let's say, an Epic, or no personal data stored in Amelia, correct? Or is there?
That's correct. We are a data processor from a HIPAA perspective. We're not a data store. So all of those records would live in your EHR. We don't store that in any way. Now, there are sometimes transcripts. So like you saw in this conversation here, this is a transcript of the conversation, and those are stored for metrics and administrative purposes, but we can mask that type of PHI out of the conversation. You can define, specific questions that you don't want the answer stored in the transcripts, or we can define patterns that Amelia matches against and mask those out. Think like 16-digit card numbers. You can mask that out, or dates, things of that nature.
Cool. Well, that's the questions for right now. Again, audience, if you have any questions at all, please put them in the Q&A dialogue. Don't let me be the only guy asking questions.
Awesome. All righty. Well, from there, John is now going to shift gears here. He's got that appointment rescheduled. He's able to do his travel, but like I said earlier, when his laptop is broke, it's kind of hard to travel for work when you don't have a working laptop. So he needs to call and look at getting that ticket updated. He needs his laptop replaced as quickly as possible. And he is trying to work from his backup desktop, but he is, like I mentioned, locked out of that as well. So I'll actually jump to a different environment here. Let me pull up the Amelia conversations here, get logged in. Now, this is a demo. This one will show some integrations with common applications. ServiceNow is one of our bread and butter integrations. And then here is Okta, which is what we're using for single sign-on. As you can see, I'm not able to get in, but here in just a moment, we'll get that password reset and we'll get in there. Here you can see the incidents that I have in. You see I've got my laptop screen issue here. So we will call in here in just a moment and get that updated. So let me get logged in. All right, so this is a slightly different view. This is a different version of Amelia, so apologies for the different view here, but this will be a very similar experience. I'm going to call in. I'm going to speak with Amelia. Once I do, that conversation will populate here. I'll click on that and we'll be able to see the transcript as it goes. And again, I will be making this call from my cell phone. So let me get dialed in.
Please enter the 4-digit extension you want to connect to. Hi, I'm Amelia, your virtual service desk agent. How can I help you today?
Yeah, I need to reset my local domain password.
Can I get your employee ID?
61234.
I have now issued a push notification to verify your identity. Please authenticate by confirming in the Okta Verify app in your phone. You can authenticate using the Okta Verify app in your phone. Great. Thanks for successfully verifying your identity. Okay, I am ready to reset the password of user nathan.walker@ipsoft.com. Would you like to continue?
Before that, can you get me the status of a ticket?
Sure, I can help with that. What is the ticket number?
INC 00133350.
I found the details for the ticket number INC 00133350. I see that you have raised a ticket for laptop screen issues. The priority of this ticket is set to 5, planning. The ticket is currently in new state. Would you like to add a comment to this ticket?
Yes, please.
What would you like to add as a comment?
I need my laptop replaced as soon as possible.
Great. I have added your comment to the ticket. Would you like to resume resetting the password?
Yes, please.
Okay. I am ready to reset the password of user nathan.walker@ipsoft.com. Would you like to continue?
Yes, please.
I have reset your password. The temporary password is saved in the ticket INC 00133355. Please refer to the ticket to know your new password. I have also sent you a text message with the ticket details. Let me know if you need any further assistance.
That's all. Thanks. All right, we'll go ahead and hang up there. So let me walk through this one real quickly. I see that we're getting a little lower on time here, so I'll go through this as quickly as I can. So there was a lot going on here. First, Amelia asking, how can I help you today? Again, this is the natural language at work. We did a different authentication method here. With employee use cases, there's usually some sort of employee ID. They also typically have some sort of authenticator installed. With this environment, we had the Okta Verify app, and I apologize. I don't think I switched to my phone screen quickly enough to show you me hitting yes, it's me on the Okta app. I apologize for that. But this is a standard integration. Okta has great APIs. We're able to initiate that multi-factor request, and your user, all they have to do to verify them is click yes. So that's one of the differences between employee use cases versus patient use cases. You have different technologies, different authentication methods, different security policy requirements. We can adapt to that and implement a number of different methods for you and your organization, depending on what your security team's comfortable with. From there, Amelia asked if I wanted to continue, and I same as last time, I threw her a curveball here. I wanted to get the status of a ticket. She asked for the ticket number, and we pulled that up. That was the laptop screen issue. We're able to pull real-time information about the ticket. So the priority is set to 5 planning. It's a new state. And in real time, I added this comment: I need my laptop replaced as soon as possible. And you saw that on the ticket, the comment getting added right here, submitted by Amelia. So anything that you can do with the ServiceNow ticket through the APIs, we're able to do with Amelia. Update, cancel, change priority, etc. Amelia can do that, and we have that functionality built into Amelia. This is not having to go in and manually code any of this. We have standard integration templates for common actions with applications like ServiceNow. We have over 150 different integrations with common applications today, ranging from applications like ServiceNow to Salesforce to Epic. We do a lot of finance work, so Fiserv, DNA. a lot of IT service desk, a lot of healthcare, a lot of organizations like that. So if there's an application you want to explore integrating with Amelia with, odds are that we already have, and we have a standard template that you can leverage to reduce time to value. From there, the ticket was updated. We resumed resetting the password. Now, this is really interesting. When I told Amelia, yes, I'm ready to reset my password, she took several actions. First, she reset the password. Second, she created a ticket documenting the new temporary password. And then she sent me a text message with the ticket number. Now, I'll admit, storing a password in plain text like that might not be the most secure way of doing it. Bear with me here for demo purposes, but I do want to call out that Amelia followed a complex business process with several steps, and she did it at machine speed. A human agent would probably take a couple of minutes to do all of those steps, but Amelia was able to complete all those tasks, and she did that nearly instantaneously. So we're saving time, not only from a labor perspective on the agent side, having to go in and do all of these steps by automation, but we're also saving time for the folks who are actually calling in. We're saving them from having to wait on hold to reach someone. We're saving them from having to wait for someone to click through and create tickets and reset their passwords. It happens at machine speed. So again, efficient customer service is good customer service. Told you I would harp on that today. All right, so we wrapped that up, and as you saw, that was a real password reset. I'm now able to log into Okta, and I'm back to work, and hopefully I can get my travel out of the way with a laptop in hand. So
Cool.
the
So,
questions
Nathan,
that
a
coming
quick
from the
question
team.
that aligns to what you just talked about. Someone's asking, kind of in line with your integration. So they have a stack, is the term he or she used.
Sure.
Written procedures. How easily can that content be kind of merged into Amelia to be able to follow a workflow per se?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we train Amelia in a number of different ways. We can obviously, the standard old method was you would go in and build your dialogue flow, right? You would drag and drop some components, say this, ask that, integrate with that. And you can still do that with Amelia, but we have added some significant functionality over the last couple of years to reduce time to value by being able to import artifacts from your repository. So if you already have workflows defined, Amelia can ingest those, and using generative AI, we can then define out what that workflow is. And Amelia will automatically write out all of the dialogue, create all the intents and entities required to process that. Again, the name of the game there is reducing time to value. And that actually brings me to a very interesting new feature of Amelia.
I
I'll
was
pivot
say
to that in a moment, but I'd like to answer any other questions.
No, I was going to say, I asked that question on purpose because I know it's going to tie into what you're going to show next. And I'm really excited to see this because what you're describing is pretty powerful. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Before I jump into that, I'll at least pay lip service to the HR use case that I defined earlier. So integrations with Workday and things like that are pretty straightforward. We can deploy Amelia across multiple channels. I talked about Teams earlier. We talked about SMS earlier, but using gateway technology, you train Amelia once and she's immediately available in all of these different channels just by putting a gateway on top of that. So I can say I need to request time off. Amelia is going to be able to process that following the same workflows that were defined out that are available in voice. I can have this same conversation in voice. Now, there are nuances to the different channels. So here you can see we can use buttons for different UI elements in Teams, whereas you can't necessarily do that on a voice conversation. So there are some nuances to how you would deploy it across channels, but it can all be defined in a single workflow. You don't have to go in and have multiple deployments for multiple channels. You can define all of that, have all your workflows and integrations in one spot, and then just have your configurations for channels layered on top of that. Pretty pretty straightforward, pretty cool to do. So I won't go through the whole flow here, again, paying lip service to this, but I did want to introduce the folks on the call here today to a brand new feature that we just announced yesterday. Our CEO, Chetan Dubey, had a press conference. I'm sure that there's some information about it on our website now, or at very least on LinkedIn, but using generative AI in order to reduce time to value and get content like this up and running is the next evolution in platforms like Amelia. Today, we are now able to have Amelia build Amelia. Let me show you what I mean by that. So this is our digital employee factory where I can have Amelia build herself. So I will say something like, I build a digital agent. All right, well, I can help you with that. What skill and job description of the digital agent you would like to build? So at this point, I like to think about it in terms of roles and skill. So, you know, something like a pharmacy technician, ordering medication for inventory. Now, Amelia is going to now ask, do I want to build this manually or generate it automatically? So if I click manual right now, I'll go into my normal canvas, what I talked about earlier, drag and drop, say this, do that. But if I click on auto, I'm now automatically building out this workflow. Based off of generative AI, Amelia is now going out and arbitrating between multiple different LLMs. Think ChatGPT, think Bard, think those different types of LLMs, sending the requests out and recursively asking these LLMs, what are the next steps for this? What should I do here? What is the next action that I should take? And is building out the dialogue, the workflow, the intent modeling, the entity modeling, and everything that you would normally have to manually create. Amelia is building this automatically. Now I will go ahead and drill into this a little bit while she's still building out. I want to point out that Amelia is not only just creating dialogue based on what I've said, but we're also baking in API calls that may be happening here. So a medication order, we know what the medication and inventory, she's dynamically creating. What are the inputs? She's dynamically creating. Here are the different outputs. Here's your order number. Here's your total cost. Here's some placeholder values for the dialogue as we go. There are scripts that are being written. These are complex scripts that are understanding. Here is the calculation to determine how much medication I should order based on current inventory levels. And Amelia is going to take all of this and we can deploy it right here with minimal configuration. Obviously, with some of these placeholders, we will have a configurator that will go through using those integration templates I discussed earlier. We can simply say, all right, here's the endpoint, here's the credentials. Great, we're off to the races with all of the methods. And then I can go ahead and deploy this. So I can say, where do you want to deploy this to? I can tell Amelia a website that I want this to go to, and she's going to mock up what this is going to look like and redirect me there. So now here we are. Here's Amelia in a healthcare environment, and I trained her to help with ordering medications that took what, 3 minutes? This is the power of generative AI. This is where we're going to start taking platforms like Amelia, where we can reduce time to value. And because this is notoriously the most difficult part about conversational AI is that there's a lengthy implementation time. What can we do to reduce that deployment time and get that down from months to weeks? generative AI is the answer. Now, I could spend a lot more time talking about this, but in the interest of time, I see we got about 3 minutes left. Pete, I'll hand it back over to you. If there are any other questions about these new features or anything along those lines, I'm the technical guy on the team here, so feel free to reach out to me, and looking forward to chatting with anyone who'd like to talk. Thank you, Pete.
That's hard to follow up, man. That's like the mic drop right there, you know, like. No, but I'm sitting there going, man, that took 3 minutes to do that. That's pretty powerful. And then I got thinking, I'm like, man, can Amelia craft up a workflow for how to deal with a teenage daughter? And then I could make her call Amelia to have Amelia deal with her, you know. It'd be a fun experiment. All right. Well, hey, thanks for that great demo. Wow, I'm still getting my head around that last piece, but that was pretty amazing. But before we finish off today, I want to introduce, for those who don't know who Alchemy Technology Group is, we are a nationwide value-added reseller. We strive to be the best before we strive to be first. We want to be the best at anything from AI to end user compute to automation, you name it. We partner with strategic partners such as Amelia to implement core technologies in the enterprise. We pride ourselves in being very partner focused. We have 16 Partner of the Year awards since our establishment, and this is thanks to all the great staff we have, from our services team to our solutions architects to our CTO office, etc. So we have a great team of alchemists, and I love being an alchemist. And if you ever want to know my story, please reach out and I'll tell you why I joined Alchemy on another day. All right, what do? We have a lot of different practices, but on top of that, we also don't just sell you products. We help you implement, we help you assess. So one of the great things I love, for example, is we can come in and do a security assessment and give you a security roadmap. We can come in and work with you on your AI and automation, or if you want to call it what it really is, digital transformation, whatever term you want to use. We can come in and not only just give you a product, we can come in and advise, implement, and design the solution for you. We also have a development team who can help you develop some of these workflows if they're more complex as well. And then finally, I want to end cap and call out our next session, which is in 2 weeks, July 12th. I have the honor of having our CISO and our CTO, Vid and Johnny, on, and we're going to kind of recap on this conversation, exploring enterprise AI implications, security, and the future. We're going to have a nice little panel discussion on not only their experience in the enterprise. So Johnny brings a great viewpoint of being a CISO in a healthcare company, but also, things we have to think about around AI. And then Vid is just very passionate about this topic, as am I. It's funny, you look at some of the things you automate every day, you can put some AI around it, and it makes it even better. So we're going to discuss that in our next session. So please join us. And if you can't, we'll always record it and we can share the recording. And again, that brings me to my next note. Yes, we will share the recording. So feel free to send this to friends, colleagues, and more to show off this great technology. With that, I want to thank Brian and Nathan for joining us today. Thank you guys for taking time out of your busy days. Any last parting words for our audience, Nathan? You want to leave them with anything else before we jump off today?
Absolutely. I could talk about this platform all day. I have barely scratched the surface of not only from a use case perspective, but from a deployment and administrative perspective. So, everything from metrics and reporting to some of the ways that you can implement the natural language understanding features at a very granular level. So if, again, very much so only scratch the surface here today. So if anyone would like to follow up, please don't hesitate to reach out. So thanks again, Pete.
And Nathan, I'm going to raise my hand. If you need a tester to be the best tester in the world of swearing at these things, I'm your guy. And getting angry to see how she does. Let me know.
I'm confident that you could break it pretty easily.
All right, guys. Well, hey, thank you for taking time to join us. Folks on the other end, thank you for taking time whatever time zone you're in. Look for our next session, which is in 2 weeks. And then after that, we're going to be talking about Okta CIAM, customer identity and access management, not necessarily from our point of view as people talking to our IT departments, but from consumers interacting maybe with your products per se. So those are the upcoming sessions. And I thank you for joining us and look forward to seeing you on a future session. Have a great day, everybody.